I can do anything. I can reach any goal today. I can do what I want. I can be what I want to be.
Everybody, and happy Monday. So I'm so excited to be here. We're actually coming to you from New York.
Yes.
And I'm here in Kimra Luna's studio.
Yes.
And we're doing an interview with an incredible mum, and she's built a business, so $1 million empire really online in such a short period of time. So Kimra, if you could just give us a bit of an overview of who you are and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Kimra Luna, and I primarily help people who are growing personal brands, people who are typically service-based providers, or people who are wanting to learn how to sell online courses. And I do this because I love helping people. That's my main focus. I previously had a health and wellness blog that had a pretty large following, and I wanted to start teaching people all the stuff I learned as I was growing that. And it kind of just transformed into this whole other brand of me being kind of like the go-to, personal branding, tech type of person.
Yeah, and I think because you've got such an incredibly standout brand yourself, was it always like that? Like, did you learn how to develop your own personal brand along the way, or has personal branding always been a thing for you?
I mean, it's kind of both, because when I first was starting out, even with my health and wellness blog, the name was the Misfit Mama, which that was the Misfits is my favorite punk band, and I'm a mom, and it was a mommy blog. So it's and that just came to me. I wasn't I need to have the super awesome personal brand name or anything. It just came to me. It was a natural thing for me, and I have always just gone with what I like. And even with this current brand, in the beginning I was kind of oh my gosh, are they gonna like me? I have piercings in my face, you know, I have tattoos all over my chest. Are they going to, are people going to respond to this?
Will I be judged?
Will I be judged by the way I look? Because even when I walk down the street, I'm judged by the way I look sometimes. So I'm if I'm getting out there online, are people really gonna pay attention to what I have to say and think I'm actually a professional by the way I look? And I was just you know what? I just gotta go for it. Just go all in. And so far, it hasn't really hindered me at all. And that's, I think, how I started developing this. This is all about being yourself. And
absolutely.
That's why I named my program Be True Brand You. So that people can create a brand around the things they're interested in, around their passions, their curiosity, their interest. Because, most people don't have a website with, spaceships flying around and all this stuff. Most personal brands don't have things like that. And I was that's stuff that I'm interested in. I was I want to do a Jetsons theme. And the designer's all right, let's go for it.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
And you have to check out Kimra's website, actually, because it's such an engaging experience being on your website and all of the things that you can opt in and the free giveaways, and it's really visual, and it's
it's
very clever.
Well, and currently a lot of brands aren't as visual as they should be. They're being very just bland, and it's the same shots in every picture, and I'm just we have to step up our game. We have to think outside of the box a little bit, and I've always been an outside of the box thinker. So when we were developing the freedomhackers.com site, I was I want people to opt in for different freebies, and I want it to feel kind of like a video game almost, and the way they navigate.
It really does.
I just thought the navigation and the way that they can go through the site would be fun and playful, and that's something I wanted to come across in my brand. I mean, I am a mom of 3 kids, and they love video games too. I'm a video game lover. I'm all about Mario. So it's I really wanted to get all of those the essence of me all into one thing. Plus, my last name is Luna, so that's
perfect.
That means the moon.
It
means the moon, and so it all kind of ties together.
Yeah, great. And so you said before, Freedom Hackers. Tell us about the Freedom Hackers movement that you've got going on there. And you've got a Facebook group. Obviously, I'm part of that, which I love being part of. So what is a Freedom Hacker, and what does it mean to you?
So Freedom Hackers is kind of this, well, at first it was kind of this name that came to me. I was like, what would I call my community? And then I was like, okay, well, what is my community? I was like, well, they're people who are seeking freedom and they're wanting to use, you know, online technology and things like that in order to, you know, grow something, whether it's a business, whether it is even to just have a better career,
or their personal brand,
or their personal brand.
And it doesn't have to be a business for growing a brand, does it?
No.
It could be just for your career.
It could be, just for your career. There's a lot of people who, you know, are in corporate who want to create, you know, a speaker's website, you know, so people can hire them for speaking engagements or for other sorts of consulting and stuff. So so it doesn't necessarily have to be their own business, but if they want to expand their brand, almost like an online resume, so to speak.
Brilliant.
You know, having your personal brand is where people can find you, see what you're interested in. You know, nowadays it's like so many people have blogs. Like you'll run into a person that's like, oh, I have a blog. You just run into a person on the street and they have like a blog, and you go to their blog and it's like everything they're interested in. I'm like, yeah, that's a personal brand.
That's your personal brand. Putting it out there.
It can make money if you want it to. Some people, it's just a hobby, and that's totally fine too.
And so for you, it's about building personal brands so people can find more freedom in whatever it is that they're looking for. Kimra, can you tell us a little bit about your backstory? Because I saw on your website, you know, where you came from before you started this business and that need to be, you know, earning some money, and you were at the time, I think, living with your in-laws. Is that right? Yeah. So can you share a little bit about, because it's such a short journey in the grand scheme of things, what you've achieved, and I really want the other mums out there to know that, you know what, it's possible. There's the steps that you've followed. But so tell us a little bit about where you've come from.
So in 2008, 2009, the economy, especially here in the States, and I was living in California, it just totally crashed. Like it was like no jobs, no money, and at the time I was booking concerts for a living, and people couldn't go to concerts. They didn't have money.
No money to do it.
So you would book a concert, and there'd be like 5 kids there, like 5 people. I'm like 5 people. Like this band is doing a concert with 5 people. Like
the industry's dying.
Yes, it was really, really rough time in the industry, and anybody in the music industry during 2008, 2009 can tell you how rough it really was. So I was in that industry, which was kind of like a dying industry almost at the time, and the music is still there. But like the concert going wasn't. Now concert going's finally back on the rise, which is awesome. So awesome for you people in that industry.
You're back in the concert.
Yes, awesome for those people back in the concert industry. But I was doing concerts for a living, and then the economy tanked. So here I am with like no money, and I'd been with my husband for 2 years, and I ended up getting pregnant. So I'm like, okay, like we have no money, and here I am pregnant. And my husband wasn't able to find a job either. No matter how many jobs we were applying for, we just never even got responses. Like it was just insane. And so we ended up living at my in-laws' house and ended up being on government assistance for 4 years. So I had 2 kids during that time. And you know, we had made little bits of money here and there. Like I had like a job at like a frozen yogurt shop, and I was the oldest person there, and I had kids. Everybody else was teenagers. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like the old lady in this place. I was like the mom. So, but it was like, it was never enough money to get us off of that. And this whole time during this, we were studying personal development. We were reading business books. Like we were doing whatever we could. I had Etsy shops. I had like little blogs here and there. Like, I mean, I was trying to do whatever. I was like, oh, I can have like affiliate links on Amazon. Like try promoting those things. Like I did anything I could to try to make extra pennies. Like it was just how it was. And then, you know, my second son was born. And I'm in the hospital, and I'm just like, we don't have any money coming in. $0 coming in.
And
second kid is in my hands, and I'm just like, okay, like, we need to do like some master manifesting like right now. And so me and my husband, we really just kind of like buckled down. We were listening to like audios and like Abraham Hicks, like reading all these books like 24/7.
Love all that stuff.
We were just like, we were like, we just had to like wash ourselves with this stuff and like manifest quickly. And so I'm on Facebook because I had like some vegan mom like Facebook groups, and I had a few other like fitness Facebook groups and stuff. And just because that was my interest. And then one of my friends said, hey, there's some jobs in North Dakota because there was an oil boom in North Dakota. So all the men could get jobs basically. I was like, all right, okay. So my husband goes to North Dakota while me and my boys stay in California. And after 6 months, he had been working for FedEx as a FedEx driver. So I was like, oh my gosh, like a stable job, you know, like finally, like something is like happening here. And we end up moving across the country to Virginia because I didn't want to move to North Dakota. No offense to North Dakota people, but it's really cold and there's no vegan food there.
Okay. So you're a vegan?
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, so we went to Virginia to live, and we moved to a small town. There's about 5,000 people in this town, really small town. And, you know, here I am, kind of like the weird mom with like the 2 kids and like no friends at all. And I was like, okay, this is all right, I guess. And all I had was my iPhone. I didn't even own a computer because we were barely paying bills, right? So I was like, I don't even own a computer. So I had like my iPhone because I was like, oh, I need to invest at least in a nice phone. Yeah. So I had my iPhone and I had like my Facebook groups on my phone, like my mommy groups and health and wellness groups and stuff. And I was like, I want to make a blog about all this stuff. Like, I'm going to, like, write all these recipes and do all this stuff. And so I go to my husband and I say, you know what? I want to buy an iMac. He's like, an iMac? Why you want an iMac? And I'm like, well, I want to start a blog. And I'm going to, like, go all in on this blog. And so he's like, well, I think when our tax return comes back, we could probably get one. So I was like, all right. So I waited till the tax return came, and then we ordered the iMac. It came like a few weeks later. And then I was like, okay, now I don't even know how to use this thing. Right? Because I wasn't like technically inclined. I was like the person who couldn't even figure out how to get my pictures off my phone onto Facebook. I was like, how do you even post, right? So I didn't know how to do anything, right? And so I get a lot of moms who are just like, well, I don't have time to learn all the technical stuff. I'm like, well, I had to. You know, it was a necessity. And when something's a necessity, you're going to learn how to do it, right? So anyway, so I get my computer. I'm like, oh, how to, you know, set up a blog or how to set up a WordPress website. I just started Googling it, and I discovered people like Pat Flynn and all these and James Wedmore and people that I was following because I was like, oh, I want to make like a huge YouTube channel. And so I was like, I started creating YouTube videos with like before I even had like my website.
Were you ever nervous about doing that, like putting yourself out there? I remember the first time I wrote my very first blog post, and I've only been going for a few months now, but I felt really nervous about. Did you ever get nervous about going on YouTube or putting your blog out? Anything like that?
It can be nerve-wracking, definitely, because you're like, what are people going to think of me? And one thing I did notice right away, though, is a lot of people that I thought were like my close friends and family, like weren't even like reading my blog.
Okay.
And it seemed to me like they were almost like jealous that I was doing something.
Really? Yeah.
And I talked to them about it. I was like, why are you supporting me? Like, I'm just like, you know, writing a little blog post, you know, like,
get around it.
You know, and they were just like, well, you know, I just felt like I wasn't doing anything with my life. I'm like, I haven't even done anything yet. Like, I barely wrote a few blog posts, you know, like, and they were already starting to feel that way. So sometimes that can happen in business, especially if you're creating an online business. There might be sometimes friction, like, oh, who does she think she is? Or, you know, especially when you come from like a small town like I do. You know, like, oh, who does this girl think she is? You know, posting all her stuff all over online or whatever. But you really just have to know, like, once you start getting out there, your skin's gonna get a little thicker. You know, that's just. It's just how it is. There's always going to be some sort of friction, whether it's people who are trolling and saying horrible things on your post, or whether it's just people who like want to say bad things behind your back, whatever it is. There's always going to be that.
Your skin just has to get a little bit thicker.
Yes, it does, and that is definitely the truth of having a personal brand. I mean, because if you think about it, anyone that's in the spotlight and there's people, you know, paying attention to them. Not every single person is going to like the person.
No, that's right.
You know, and it's okay though. Because that just means that those people who do resonate with you are going to love you even more, and the people that don't resonate with you, so what?
I read somewhere, I can't remember where it came from actually, but they said if you're not pissing people off, you're probably not having a big enough impact yet, and you're being too vanilla. So I think it's when you start to actually really develop your personal brand that you become divisive, and people go, we either love or don't love. Have you found that? Are there trolls out there? Have you had to deal with any of that negative feedback? Or?
Yeah, I have had some people. I mean, when my business first started like really getting momentum, there were people who like were my friends online, and then all of a sudden when they saw like, oh, my business was growing faster than their business, they started like talking behind my back and like being all shady and like gossiping about me. They made like a whole online forum about me. There's a whole forum of people that just like bash me. So that's how I was like, oh, hey, like, all these people that are making huge impacts on the world, guess what? They have a bunch of people bashing them too.
That's right.
So I'm just like, that just means I'm doing my job. That means I'm affecting enough people for it to rub them the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of it is, you know, their insecurities, because some of them I'm just like, dude, we would have been like best friends. You know, like, why are you hating on me?
It says more about them than what it does about you a lot of the time. And I love that kind of thinking, you know, when people are negative and pessimistic, it actually says a lot more about them than it does about the person they're bashing or
and I mean, there's definitely good feedback. You know, if somebody's like, oh my gosh, like that didn't work for me or things like that, like I'm always tweaking my courses and things like that. Like if there's something like missing or something that needs to be explained better, I will go and remake the video to make my content better. So it's not always perfect content the first time. The first time you put it out. But yes, you have to take in that constructive feedback. You know, I've had a few people sometimes are just like, oh, I don't like learning on webinars. I said, well, then you're not my audience. You know, because yes, that might be constructive feedback, but I shine on a webinar. Like that's where I give the best value of me, and that's where they're going to get the best value of me. So I'm like, hey, like, you know, like I can't, like, even like my friend Gabby Bernstein, like her courses are actually recordings of her live events. Because she is best live on stage. That's where she's best. So part of having a personal brand is knowing your strength.
And work out where you shine.
Yes. And so, and I didn't realize that webinars were going to be my thing. I just knew it was a way to like grow an audience quickly. So I started doing them, and I just kept doing them. And, you know, that's what really like grew my business. So like, you know, I had my mommy blog and all this stuff for like a year and a half, and it was growing and growing. But
did it start slower? Or did you kind of hit the mark easily, or did you ever find a time when you were like, oh God, is this ever gonna take off? Or what was
well, with my mommy blog, I never really ended up making a lot of money. I did promote some affiliate things like essential oils and like other like health and wellness sort of things. But I did grow a big following. So I knew I was a community builder, and I was like, if I could build another community of people who want to learn the stuff that I want to share and what I want to sell and actually make money on, then, you know, I can do that. And so I was just like, okay, what's the name of my community? Like that to me was like a big focus on my brain. And that's why, you know, Freedom Hackers came about. So I start my business, start doing webinars, my email list starts growing, and I tell everybody who signs up for webinars to join my community. Like, I didn't really spend a lot of time like pitching on those webinars. I was just like, hey, this is me. And what happened was
I can do anything. I can reach any goal today. I can do what I want. I can be what I want to be.